Yeah, that's why you gotta.
I need people when someone who works on it, yeah. Come on. Okay.
You mean physically?
Yeah. Too hard to do now.
Okay, so I'll start.
I can't do it. No, it's, okay. We can get
The phone here. The older we get the Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. Boker Tov. Let's go. Shalom, shalom. Ellie's saying over here we need to make Ellie Feder the Sally. He's saying that we need to have a Fabrengen as we go along. So we can't just have, we need to have guys.
You're not clapping.
Right. Fabrengen about it.
Say, talk about it.
Okay. Let's go. We are doing page 107, which is page Nun Dalet. Here you are. So I'm going to summarize on page 106. The main we're doing is called Habaim Yashresh Yakov. So let's summarize where we're holding over here. On page 106, what we said is Parsha Shmois, it's Habayim Yashresh Yaakov Yatzitz V'Rach Yisrael, that the Jews going down to Mitzrayim, the Navi tells us, is essentially being rooted into Mitzrayim. So Hashem said, Koyamar Hashem is what the Maamar is based on. Hashem said, Boira'acho Yaakov v'yitzercho Yisrael. Yaakov, you are the creator, and Yisrael formed you. So the question is obviously, how can it be that someone is creating Hashem? What does that mean? And on the second base, what does that mean that you say Yaakov seems to be higher than Yisrael? Because Bria and Yitzira, Bria is higher than Yitzira. So Yaakov is Barach and Yitzira is Yisrael. So the Alter Rebbe explains, and the Shama comes down to this world.
And you can't simply translate it as that is supposed to explain to Yaakov and to Yisrael each individually.
Look at the pasuk says.
I'm your boy.
This is
ways addressing Yaakov.
Boira'acho.
Your creator.
Your creator is Yaakov.
Or
what do you mean?
That I'm your creator.
No.
Hashem is Boira'acho.
Then you would say, Koyamar Hashem Boira'acho. But then what's he saying?
And to Yaakov.
Koyamar Hashem, so said Hashem, Boira'acho Yaakov, v'yitzercho Yisrael. Hashem tells you, I want you to know who made you, who formed you. Boira'acho is Yaakov, and Yitzercho is Yisrael. So in other words, what he's saying is, what?
Where is it? Where is it?
Wait, the pasuk here. Perek Nun Gimel Amud Gimel. Look it up. It's in Gimel is Boira'acho Yaakov Yitzercho Yisrael. Nun Gimel Amud Gimel and no, where's this pasuk? Boim Yashresh Yaakov is in Yeshaya. Here it is. Yeshaya Mem Gimel pasuk Aleph. Yeshaya Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Most Boker Tov. Okay, so Hashem says that Yaakov is Boira'acho Yaakov Yitzercho Yisrael. Yaakov is your creator, and Yitzercho is Yisrael. So what it means is that the Neshama coming down to this world. Why did the Neshama come down? For Yom La'aseisim. And what's the purpose of creation? The purpose of creation is for the sake of a Jew. So a Jew coming into this world, basically, a Jew descended into this world. And what's his mission in descending into the world? His mission is that he discovers Hashem, bottom line, and thereby discovers who he is. It's quite powerful, actually. It says, Kodesh Yisrael Hashem Reishis Tvuosei. So the Jew is holy, and the Jew is Hashem's beginning of Hashem's grain, which means a purpose. And a Jew is lowered into this world, and Hashem tells him, go do all the mitzvahs. And what's the purpose of doing the mitzvahs? When you do the mitzvahs, you get garments so that your soul can experience what you are. So you don't need the mitzvahs to be holy. Kodesh Yisrael Hashem, you're holy anyway. What do you need the mitzvahs for? To discover your holiness. And the kavanah of the mitzvahs becomes a garment for you to wear so you can even rise higher. And that's why a person needs to make 100 brachas a day. Explain that. Basically, it's a discovery process. Because Hashem is removed, and Hashem comes down, and when you do the mitzvahs, you start to see Hashem every day. Why 100 brachas a day? Because you're drawing Hashem into this world. So it's like the zeronim of the putting seeds in the ground, and the mitzvahs are like seeds. And how beautiful is this? When a Jew, my head on column 2 of 106, my head as a Jewish head, what is it? It's a Jewish forehead. So it looks like a piece of gashmias, but the Jew, unlike a goy, if you put a pair of tefillin on his forehead, then the forehead becomes holy. And if you put it on the table, nothing happens. Or if you put it on a goy. So the Jewish forehead is eliki. It's a godly thing. And that's what it means that the Ein Sof is removed and Hashem comes down through Ein Melech B'Lo through a Jew doing the mitzvahs. And that's how it comes down. So you know what? Let's pick it up over here. I'm going to go backwards to the bottom of page 106. Let's go from over here.
So Parshas don't learn that.
Parshas say what?
But Parshas say that he's addressing Yakov and Yisrael, because Yakov and Yisrael is each a different madrega. You can look at this line here and look at the Malbim.
1 second. So the pasuk says, "Ve'ato in Yishayim and Gimel. Ve'ato koyamar Hashem, v'yira'acho Yaakov v'yetzerecho Yisrael." Okay. So ve'ato koyamar Hashem al tiro. 1 second. What's Rashi? No. What's the? Which you're looking at?
Yeah.
The Malbim.
The Malbim. The first look at the Radak.
Radak says what? Koyamar Hashem.
Should be marker that I'm.
V'yira'acho Yaakov shetakir ki ani v'yira'acho v'yira'olam. Right. Should recognize.
You Yaakov and you Yisrael should recognize that I'm Barasa and Yotzrecha. Not that Yisrael and Yaakov were the Boiracha and the Yotzrecha. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, 1 second. But he's quoting over here. He quoted Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu Lo'olam Mi Bara'ach Yaakov Yisrael Yisrael. So let's just see the source of what he quoted over here. Medrash Rabbah Parshas Bechukoisai.
Oh, so he's quoting the Medrash from this.
Medrash Rabbah Parshas Bechukoisai. Right, this Bob says Koyamar Hashem. No, Radak learns that
addressing Yisrael.
Right?
He's addressing Yaakov and
right. But the Medrash says right. So we're going based on the Medrash. Yes. Okay. So now we're good. So through Jews doing the mitzvahs, you bring Elokus down. Bottom line. Okay. Wait. You know what? I can't resist this. I want to do this piece again. This piece about just quickly. The piece on page 106, column 2, about a Jew doing mitzvahs. It's so powerful. You okay with that, Moxley? We do it again. With us?
Yeah, but maybe go back a piece.
Which piece? Where?
The tzmicha. Oh, that's the piece, right? Okay. The bottom of almost
column 2. Where? Yeah, I want to go a drop further back. V'ina mea brachas.
Okay.
Just because it's so beautiful, that piece. Okay, that's what he says. V'ina mea brachas analo b'dibu. Ach ma'yam shoch me'ela melegilu yadei ma'isem mitzvah. So the brachas is speaking, and the mitzvah is the physical act. Moshel Azariah, Shiroi bin Azariah, who's already negina. Shenan echolid. Take a seed and you put it in the ground. Shurak garin shein b'shum ta'am ma'echol. A seed has no food. It's not edible. U'shenizra garin ba'aretz, when you plant the garin in the ground, u'mislabish v'kech hatzim me'ach sheboret, tzmach b'zeh pri ma'echol. You actually get a fruit coming out. Dam shelo etzem garin b'chinas ma'echol klal. Which is fascinating because what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the garin is not food, and yet look what happens. So even, I mean, it's true. So a wheat is actually an edible kernel, is edible. Okay, but when you put it into the ground, it becomes the whole thing that grows. Tefillin, which is a physical mitzvah, tzitzis, which is a physical mitzvah, is nothing. It feels like nothing. All bishar mitzvahs. So it's beautiful, these words. When a Yiddish man puts them on his head, then Gile Elokus comes, because it's on your forehead. The 4 parishes, each one does something to you. Is priest of the Malcolm. It's the pores, the spreading out of the king. The only applies when a Jew puts it on his head. If it's on the table, nothing happened. Even though your forehead is just a physical thing. Even when a guy puts them on, nothing happens. So if you put a seed in the midbar, nothing's going to happen in the desert. You put the seed in the ground, now something happens, right? So in other words, tzitzis on your body works. Because Hashem is unlimited, right? He says, I think I skipped it out. You are my Eretz Chayfet. You are the land. You, a Jew is the Eretz Chayfetz. In other words, when you meet a Jew and he tells you he hasn't put on tefillin, you jumping for joy because you can put on tefillin now, and you're a Jewish body and a Jewish head and an arm. Amazing. So he says, because Hashem is unlimited. Hashem is before the world is created. How do you get a world to be? Because Hashem's malchus is the malchus of the world. So Hashem wants to be a king. And what a king does is a king can change the yesh into an ayin. So everyone's bottled to a king. So what does Hashem? This is beautiful, actually. So Hashem says, I want to put myself into the world so everything should be bottled. The world should be an ayin, totally bottled. Just like the malachim bow down to Hashem, so too we humans. The malachim aren't separate from Hashem. The only Jews are in this world are bottled. You can't be a child of Hashem. You become the Ratz and the Chayfetz. In other words, you can't be a child of Hashem. You have to be an Eved Hashem.
But the whole fact that this is the case is built on the fact that you have a moon and that what you're being told is the case.
One second. We're making an assumption that you're good with the fact that you do mitzvahs and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The Alter Rebbe doesn't deal with that. You know, if you don't believe in mitzvahs, you go study Moreh Nebuch.
They don't believe in the soil. I can't.
Right. So I said, no, there's a conversation. And you shiur to the moon, all good stuff. I said, but I do believe in mitzvahs. That's I do believe. And I don't connect. That's the bigger problem.
Yeah.
Today's generation, that's what we're struggling with. Valdei Yisrael Dafka, but my say mitzvahs gashmi, yuchal ishavas b'chinas tzmichan al a Jew. Boom. V'zeu isho yiras Hashem. That's a Jew. He tishalal. She ignites herself. Chakadosh Baruch Hu nikach chasar k'nas so nikach shem kala. B'chinas isho yiras Hashem. Sheshov hu b'chinas yiru bitl. And then you become an illuminated, boom, light up, right? So let's, in today's Tanya, and just before the Tanya set it up, it's an amazing idea. The Rebbe, in a new Tanya, they bring from the Rebbe Rashab. So he says, today's Tanya goes like this. A person needs to be, you can't be a tzaddik, right? Tzaddik is someone who hasn't got a desire for evil. So, I don't know, I have that desire, I have Titus, so I can't be a tzaddik, right? It says you can't be a tzaddik, but you should be a tzaddik anyway. Because the shvuah which a person's made to take is to hit tzaddik v'alti rasha, right? The Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, today's Tanya, what does it mean to hit tzaddik? That you should strive, right? Every so often you should think about how disgusting food is. I mean, think about Titus Nashim, a woman, and just meditate on how disgusting it is. Because when you see how lowly it is, and you think how beautiful the lokus is and panug of Torah, then you'll want that. So the Alter Rebbe says that you can't be, I'll be a Russia, don't be a Russia, but the tzaddik, try to be a tzaddik, even though you can't. Comes the Rebbe Rashab and he says, what does that mean? He says there's two types of Isbonenus that a person has. This is in Kuntres Eitz Chaim. Two types of meditation. One meditation is called Likutei Torah, the other one is called Likutei Torah. Likutei Torah means I'm meditating that Hashem is, thank you Hashem. I see Hashem everywhere. Baruch Hashem, I see Hashem everywhere. But there's another meditation that says that Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, there's no world. The world is bottle, umavutal, and nothing. It's not thank you Hashem, because there is no sense of me. There's no I. There's only God.
It's just the picture being projected, like you said.
Right. But he said, but what's the point of meditating then if you're not only a tzaddik can meditate then? Says Alter Rebbe, even though you'll never actually get there to truly internalize that meditation, nonetheless do it. Why? This is why it's tzaddik. Because if you really want to overcome evil, you have to actually do this meditation, which is seeing Gashmis as disgusting, what food is, what women are, how Elokus is real. And that's the tzaddik meditation. That's Yichudei Lo. So even though you won't actually get there, it'll affect you, because to actually make the yesh into an ayin means Yichudei Lo. It's an amazing thing. This is if you look at it, New Tanya. I mean, if you got that New Tanya, Mati says, you show me as a Rahim. I don't know if you have it. The New Tanya? Yeah. So in the New Tanya, he quotes this, the Rebbe Rashab. This idea is such a beautiful, simple idea. Anyway, so now the next paragraph.
But she's tis owl because she's mevatel herself.
Isha yiras Hashem, who's mevatel himself.
She herself is.
He tisal means she is.
Reflexive. She is becomes lit up.
Right. So tishal means you want to get that's today's Tanya. If you want to get true today's Tanya, if you want to get true simcha, true simcha is a tzaddik. A Beinoni doesn't have true simcha.
Right.
So kuli hai, if you meditate, maybe Hashem will grant you should get a little bit of feeling of tzaddik, feeling the true joy of what this means. That's the simcha.
And the U.S. Hashem is separate from the Tachon or part of the
Hmm?
U.S. Hashem is part of the Tachon?
Yes, you're with the Tachon.
Is the Tachon?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it means. Habaim, yashresh, Yakov. The second paragraph, the bottom of 106, column 2. Vezeu habaim yashresh Yakov. Hainu ashrosh lemata b'chinas hamitzvos. Hashem says, I want to embed mitzvahs into this world. I want to take the mitzvahs and I want to put them into physical things. The yud goes into the Akiv. Elokus goes down into the Akiv. And I'm going to blossom Yisrael. So when you're a Jew doing mitzvahs, it's lonely sometimes. It just feels like physical, menial things. But you should know you're actually blossoming fruits because the seed doesn't have any taste and texture. This is what it means. If you put down tzedakos into the world, what do you sprout forth yeshuas? When you give tzedakah, what's the purpose? Our schus. In other words, when you're giving tzedakah, you should know the one who's gaining the most is you.
And the Yeshua is taking yourself out of that mitzvah.
Yeah, get this? God doesn't need. I always wonder about this with tzedakah. Does God need me? Like anyone else could have done this. The answer is He doesn't need you. He does not need you. Hashem would support the other person anyway. It's to your benefit. Wonder about that, right? If I'm helping a kid, I don't know, just got a nice little story that we helped a kid in Borough Park. A kid, basically, his father doesn't want to know him. His father lives in Lakewood, and his father doesn't want to know him from Beans. And I mean, he comes to him, but he doesn't give him the time of day. And we just got this kid, whatever, to go to shul and to go to be connected and best we can under the circumstances. So now I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Then I thought to myself, but does Hashem need our organization to do it? Anyone could have done it. He doesn't need you. He does not need you. But Hashem gives you the ability to this chus to give tzedakah. So when you get tzedakah, you say thank you to the other guy that I had the ability to give tzedakah. Thank you. This is what it means. Havonas Maamar. David says everything else in the world, basically explain what tichla is. What does it mean? Amen. Everything else in the world is nothing. Your mitzvahs are the best. What does he say? Everything else, meaning every taiva to go to. What's better, to go to Hawaii or to do mitzvahs? No, that's not what he's saying. He's not saying Hawaii versus mitzvahs. What he's saying is I'm talking about klois nefesh. What's better, klois nefesh? That was to experience an elevation of the soul. I mean, one second. Kodesh. So, okay, so the bottom of 106 here. So, when you do a tzedakah, when you give tzedakah, sollt ihr wissen that the tzedakah is to the benefit of you. Right? It's partially to your benefit that Hashem is giving it to you. So David HaMelech says, physical mitzvahs, nothing like it. It means I see every yearning, every excitement over Elokus is lovely, but nothing beats mitzvahs. He doesn't mean, Taivas Gashu. Rakal Bechinas Asakas the Klois HaNefesh. Loshen Kol Sanash, Shu Bechinas Keitzu Gvul. Shel Chol Neshama Ish Gvul Asagosam, Mashenkin Mitzvahs Yochav HaMoed. If I learn, I do whatever, how much can I do? However much I can. But the mitzvah itself, the mitzvah itself is bligvul. Shall the mitzvah next page 107 nun dalet. This is what it means. It's a whole different understanding of the pasuk. He says, everything else has a limitation. Your mitzvahs, the mitzvahs are unlimited.
Sit on top of the mountain and meditate.
But meditate on not meditate. Hashem wants me to sit. Does Hashem want me to sit and learn Torah all day long?
No, I'm saying it is.
Well, the answer is yes, he does. Yes, he does. Unless, but when the mitzvah comes along, nobody else can go do that mitzvah. So yes, does Hashem want meditation? Meditation is very important, but nothing compares to doing the mitzvah. This one means Ashreichem zoyrei al kol mayim. We always said, right?
Yes.
Ashreichem zoyrei al kol mayim. Fortunate all of you. No, Yeshaya Lamed Beis. Fortunate all of you who sow in the water. But whatever you're learning, Nika b'shem mayim, shekosav v'nor yoytze miyeden, mashenken ma'aseh mitzvah. Sna says al kol mayim l'mayla b'chinas mayim kanal. Mitzvahs, the doing of mitzvahs, what is that? Zriya al kol mayim. It's above all the water. So water is Gan Eden, and the mitzvahs is a zriya. So you say, what am I doing with a mitzvah? I'm just doing a physical act. It's nothing. That's a lokus. Now it applies to Torah also. If you're learning physical Torah, you're learning a shtickle Gemara or halacha. That sprouts forth. Because why? Because it's embedded in the ground. Fortunate someone who got to this place over here, which is the Kilayon of Gan Eden. Then he comes in with his Talmud, his learning from Olam Hazeh in this world, back there. What do you need physical speech? You need to know about two guys arguing about something they found. Come on. That's so menial. Because in order to get fruits, it's the mashal. You have to take the apple seed and you put it in the ground. It has to embed itself in the ground. So a Jew needs to be sitting in Gashmis and understand the physical world. And, in order to learn halacha, right? You understand the problem? You literally need to be a chef to understand how food operates. This type of food, that type of food. You need to be an engineer to understand how the hot and water machine operates, whatever.
Yeah.
Every ridiculous thing. Because you have to be embedded in Gashmis, because you're putting the seed of Elokus in the Gashmis. And then it grows. When the Torah is absorbed into the Talmud, it becomes the greatest revelation. All that is just Ziva Shechina. This one means yashresh Yakov. So the bechinas shrisha uklita bechinas Yakov shu bechinas Torah. Habaim yashresh Yakov. Yakov is coming to root himself into the ground. Yochim edus beYakov. It's only Yakov that has the edus. Titan emes the Yakov and emes la Torah. So he's saying that's an interesting thing, right? Yaakov is higher than Yisrael. That was the whole question at the beginning of the Maamar. Why is Yaakov higher than Yisrael? Because he has no texture, no nothing. It's just the Akev. It's just a little gashmistic thing. I mean, but guess what? The seed is what brings the fruit.
Okay, but generally speaking, Yaakov is alone in the dragon of Yisrael.
But that's why it works, because what's better, the apple or the seed of the apple? The apple has texture. The seed has nothing.
Depends on the content.
Okay. If you put the Yaakov into the ground, you get Yisrael.
Can I interrupt a second?
Please.
Isn't the moshe over here that the smicha ba'aretz, Yidden aretz, and the mitzvahs are smicha, just like the tefillin go on the rosh of a Yid. The Yid is the main thing. Gatem tili eretz chefes. We're the eretz. The mitzvahs are the garoinim they put on to the Yid.
Correct.
Unless I got the most wrong, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, so when you make a shrosha, Habaim yashresh Yakov, so you make a shrosha in Yakov. Who's Yakov? Yakov Yidden. So you take garinim, take mitzvahs, you sprinkle them into Yakov, into the Yid, and then it sprouts out fruit. And here he says, Torah. How they work together?
What's the answer?
No, because there's two types of ashrasha. One is when I put on tefillin on my forehead, right? Boom. So Yiddish forehead puts tefillin on. That's the nuclear power, because even though it's a physical nothing, it has all the power in it. Al derech zeh, so too the person learns Torah, physical Torah,
Instead of the mitzvah.
right? So it's either mitzvah or Torah. When you're learning
But it's not nuclear power. It's a power of tzmicha. You have the eretz, right? Ki atem tiu li eretz chayfetz. So Yidden are eretz. And in eretz, you put sprinkle garinim, you plow and you sprinkle.
Right, but there's two ways to sprinkle, either mitzvahs or Torah, the two ways to sprinkle.
I understand that. I
Two things
understand
you
that.
can sprinkle into the eretz.
Yep.
Right, we're Yidden, we're the eretz. We have the koyach tzmicha. And therefore, you put a mitzvah into the Yid, or you
A
put
physical Yid.
Torah, or put Torah into a physical Yid. So why that be the Gashmis? The physical Yid is Gashmis? Yidden are Tzmeila, Yidden are Kaddish, Yidden are...
No, you can't.
You could plant something and it doesn't take root.
Right, a Yiddish goof it has to be.
No, but not just that. You could plant something in the ground and it doesn't take root.
So what's an insult? Doesn't take root.
No, so that he has to take root. It's not just it's an avoider. It's something. It's not just.
You mean to do the mitzvah, to learn?
Yeah. You have to be stopped on by your errors. You have to
actually learn the part and understand the gap is like a story.
That's usually Klita. It has to be absorbed into it, not just placed there.
Or you take the eretz has to be a good eretz. The eretz sometimes it's not a good eretz. The zriya, the garinim don't grow because the earth has to be good earth.
Yeah, but that's what he said. Different times won't grow. He said earlier. You are. The Baal Shem Tov said, right, that every Jew is Eretz Chayfetz. And he says Eretz Chayfetz, he said it differently. He said that jewels and precious gems and everything, all on the inside of Jew. You got to find it. Yeah. So the pasuk continues, the whole table, the whole world will be filled with tnufa is pri, the fruit. Also, tnuba means in quotation marks. There's niklat, b'chinas table, b'chinas knas Yisrael.
That's the thing. There's niklat is placed there.
That's the point, right? It needs to be niklat, it needs to be absorbed there. And nikar eretz chayfet is niklat and yashresh b'chinas gilu. Well, they b'chinas Yakov Yisrael now. So you have to have Yakov embedded in the ground. Yisrael blossoming. There you go. Okay, this is how far we got last time. Column 1, page Nun Daled, paragraph 8. Yakov. Yisrael and now, in order for this to work, well, Yakov is the third of the Avos. So is Gamkin, Gimel Bechinas, Shu Bechinas Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. In order for a Jew to say, okay, I'm learning Torah, and Hashem is being absorbed into the ground, there needs to be 3 levels. What are the 3 levels? Well, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Kitfila is Avos Tiknum. Is there when in a tefillah shemevakshim? What do we ask? Baruch atah havaya me'ahelem el agili kaneda. We said there were 100 brachas a day. What's a bracha? Davening is part of mainly a lot of brachas. Right? What's a bracha? I should reveal Hashem into this world. Yeah. So I want to reveal Hashem in the world. In order for me to reveal Hashem in the world, what do I need? First, I need a bitterness over not seeing Hashem.
That's like the avoid of turning over the earth and preparing the earth.
Yes,
the plan.
Yeah, it's like in that mind the way he says that Asher Tshuva, he says you got to flip over everything you believe in, change all your beliefs. In other words, look at yourself. What am I doing wrong? So if I'm doing everything right, yeah, but then you're not going to bring a lokus into you.
Yeah, but with the mashal limtum to extend it to the zuriya, this becomes the avoided before the zuriya.
Right. Amen. Ukamayim, it says, "Mein tachtoinim boichin." The lower waters are crying. Amen. In the second day of creation, the lower waters were lowered down. I mean, they're crying, "Anon boin and leme'eh bekod the malka." We want to be in front of the king. What does that mean? I want to meditate on how Hashem said one little word and the world was created. When you say Baruch Shamar V'Yaolam, you're not saying blessed is Hashem who created the world. You're saying Hashem, you come down because the world is just one little word, 10 sayings that the whole world's created. So the world's nothing. V'shekedai kol Yisur again, worth all Yisur again to get to Olam Haba, to get to Gan Eden. U'kamayim Chazal mutav l'ridayin, good to be judged by Acher, v'leisi l'olma de'osi, li'esnein meziv hashchina, to arrive at the next world. So if you meditate on how distant we are from Hashem, that's step 1. I'm looking at myself and I'm saying, oh my gosh, I'm in this world. I'm infinitely distant from Hashem. And he said, what do you mean? I'm a good guy. I do good things. I do mitzvahs. You're nothing, shepherd, nothing. And you want to meditate on that and be bitter over it. On the one hand, so this is about Rab Shimon. It says he was learning about the Churban. And he said, on the one hand, I'm crying, on the other hand, I'm excited. Why? I'm learning these incredible secrets that I'm crying because now I realize how bad it is no base to Mikdash.
Also, that the Nevu of the Churban came through, so the Nevu of the Gula.
Yeah, all both together. So when I see how distant I am from Hashem, I get to be. It's amazing because I get to do mitzvahs, but I also get to do how bad it is that we don't have a base of Mikdash. I know my body is infinitely distant from Hashem. But the shamas is a simcha rabba lismoyach ma'Hashem b'simcha shel mitzvah she bechinas ma'usoi v'atzmusoi kivyochol l'mala b'chinas seviv golam. It's amazing. Get to think of Hashem. Wow. When you put on tefillin, you got to meditate. Before you put on tefillin, right? Not before, but that's a meditation. Baruch Shem V'Olam is meditation. What's a meditation? Hashem is unlimited, and it's nothing. The whole world is nothing. And therefore, you get excited over your ability to be connected to Hashem in a mitzvah. Wow, that's awesome. But at the same time, it's sad that we're in a world. So it's together, man. How do I do this both together? How do I cry and rejoice together? Right? Cry in my distance from Hashem and rejoice in my connection to Hashem in a mitzvah. Yakov, I mean, you have to have Yakov to Rachmanus. When you see all the Maamar Habaim are saying the same thing. The part is, compassion is the most powerful midah. This will give you the simcha. So here's what goes on, right? Remember we said another Maamar day, the one we learned, the one before this basically, we learned two Maamar Habaim on page 1 Gimel. It said that Yakov Hashapadas are wrong. So we said, was that wrong? No. We said that Yaakov, the midah of Rachmanus, releases Avram, which is the Abba. Right? Now, what does that mean? Compassion. Telling you, compassion is the most important thing in the world. You know what compassion is? When a person looks at himself and he feels, we like to knock ourselves. You're no good. Why'd you do this? A person did an Aveira, right? So you say, why'd you do an Aveira? You loser, you low life, you whatever. You scream at yourself. And then what happens?
No.
You feel terrible and you do another Aveira because you feel terrible because you might as well.
Do nothing.
Right? So what's the solution? The solution is Rachmanus, compassion. Like, ask yourself, why'd you do that Aveira? And you realize, I did that Aveira because I was just trying to be connected, because I felt distant from Hashem, and I needed that connection, and I just needed to escape, and I did it, and understand why you did it. That Rachmanus is what releases you. So he's saying Aveira, Rachmanus is when you look at Rachmanus and you say, wow, I am stuck in this world. Hashem is unlimited. Hashem put me as a little neshama in this world, and it's so hard and so difficult. That Rachmanus makes you excited about doing a mitzvah. The voice is the voice of Yakov. How do you make a voice? Through fire and water. Fire and water opposites, right? The pole, a voice, what is it? It's a fiery element because it comes from the heart, right? It has a texture to it. Then the wind is the actual speech. Hashem's voice appears in this world through Yakov. That connects the two together. So let's summarize what we're holding. Well, he said like this. I'll just summarize and show you what he said. He said that Yakov comes down to Mitzrayim. Parsha Shmois is about Yakov coming down to Mitzrayim. Yakov and his children come down to Mitzrayim. So the Haftarah of Shmois, Yeshayahu says, so said Hashem. Habaim yashresh Yakov v'titzah v'achisol. Right? What's Habaim yashresh Yakov? That those who come down to Mitzrayim. You should know, when you're going down to Mitzrayim, you're taking root. And there's a blossoming of Yisrael going to come out of this. In other words, whenever you're looking at yourself as in the darkness, I saw a good verse today of the Rebbe where he says that when a person sees darkness, what's the solution for darkness? If you see darkness, say hior. What does it mean hior?
Say it.
Yeah, to say hior, which means instead of wallowing in the darkness, say, but what can I do now that's light? And just that you'll see will get you out of the darkness. So You're in the darkness and you're in the spot. He says, well, let's reframe darkness. Darkness is underground. What is underground meant to be done for? Well, you take a seed, which has no fruitness in it. Nothing. It's just an apple seed. It looks dead. And if you put him under the ground and you put him there, what are you going to get? Beautiful fruits. So a Jew, when he's in the most lost place and he has no idea what he is, look at yourself and say, no, I can do mitzvahs over here. And yeah, Hashem could have given stokatis fruit. Doesn't need me for it. Why did Hashem do me? Because he wants to give me this chus. So basically, I'm in this world able to do this chus. And now I'm reframing what it means to be underground. It's a place to put seeds in and to grow, right? And when you come to Gan Eden, they're going to say to you, Hashem Yishibolach Talmud Biyod. Gan Eden wants Talmud Biyod. And that was the same word as David HaMelech. The whole tichla ECK, spirituality tichla is great. You want bleak wool, you have to be underground, suffering and struggling, and there you do the mitzvahs. That's your best place to be in. So now when you get that, you realize what is Yakov? Yakov is the midah of Rachmanus. How do you do this? You look at yourself. This is something. I'm bringing myself. I'm such a low life, meaning I'm distant from Hashem. I'm infinitely distant from Hashem. But when I look at myself and I say, yes, but why would Hashem put an neshama of His right down into the world? And the answer to that question is because Hashem realizes that's the over here is where you get the ultimate of doing mitzvahs. You can't do it anywhere else. So through having, don't see, I'm not, this is the beauty. You're not saying to yourself, oh, you're a good guy. You are a loser. But guess what Hashem wanted? He wanted mitzvahs in the loser. That's Rachmanus. Because Yakov from Avraham is excitement over Hashem. That's the Ava. Yitzchak is Gvura. You're infinitely distant from Hashem. Yakov says, hey, the blend of both together. You're infinitely distant from Hashem, but look how amazing it is to do mitzvahs. So the spoiledness of Yaakov comes from Avram and Yitzchak. You think about how much Hashem loves you. That's Ava, right? Think about how infinitely distant you are from Hashem, and then you think to yourself, and it's awesome because I have a neshama. I'm so infinitely distant. I get to do mitzvahs.
So the big mitzvah is because the ruach is made of eight and nine.
Yeah,
that's how you get ruach.
Yeah, that's the mamutza. And by the way, in Chassidus it always says use the same meditation after you do an aveira. You did an aveira, and now you feel like a lowlife. So you feel like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And the Yetzer Hara says to you, you loser, you should feel guilty and bring you down, 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 and then get you to do an aveira again. And what do you tell the Yetzer Hara? You say, I am a lowlife. It's true. But you know something? Hashem put himself in this low life and he's right here inside of me. So you say how hard it is for the neshama, and you give the neshama shkoyach, you give the neshama empathy for how hard it is and what she's suffering and struggling. And through that empathy with the neshama, that's Yaakov, that's Rachmanus, the neshama gets empowered to go back. So it's like the worst place is the best place. This is DBT therapy. Therapy. At the lowest place is the highest. Can you with us? We're just answering.
Yeah. No, I'm here. Sounds a lot IFS like when you're talking about giving the sympathy to when you do something wrong, to not, I mean, the important thing, I think, is to just not judge yourself, because that's just ultimately, I mean, it's a balance. Yeah.
IFS is the tool. IFS is not the actual avodah. The avodah is what it says here.
No, it's a way, it's an approach.
Separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an amazing idea to be able to separate. There's me and there's what I'm feeling. This is the empathy of it. Yes.
Yeah. Once you do that, you automatically created a period with a clipper, if you want to look at it that way, and a connection.
If you pay attention in Chassidus, there's always characters. Look at this mind. There's just characters. There's Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And what he's saying is they're inside your soul. Talk to them. Avram is the one who feels love. He's Avram. Hello, Avram. When you're feeling connected, right? Yitzchak is when you're feeling bligvul, like Hashem is unlimited. And Yaakov is the compassion. They each one's a character inside you. And you have a conversation within them. That's right. That's like you see, oh, right, interesting. Right? Each one comes along and has his point. Okay. Yashresh Yakov. You come into Golus, you're putting a root in the ground. Right? In order to get Torah mitzvah and be in front of Hashem, Dvar Hashem, this is just like Yosef. He goes back to the pit. And in the pit, his brothers think that what he's doing now is, after 39 years, he went to see the pit. So his brothers think what he's going to do now is take revenge. And he says, no, I came to see, I want to understand how Hashem works. Hashem put me into a pit so that I could go in front of him face to face. Hashem put us in Mitzrayim so that we can get close to him. In other words, whenever you're broken, it's in order to get close to Hashem. Kiblu atayra liyas yashresh Yakov yatzitzu farach. And then they got the Torah and they got yatzitzu farach Yisrael. V'zeh haya b'Mitzrayim b'chdei lekabel es atayra begashmius v'bchinas chitzonius. This was Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim was to receive the Torah begashmius. Hashem wants to receive the Torah in a chitzonius, in an actual revealed way. So where does it happen? It happens in the brokenness. Right there. I have to tell you, I had an experience last week. I went to a chasana, and it was a high-powered chasana, and I don't know. I walked inside this wedding, 1,000 people at the wedding, and I felt, honestly, this is what I felt. I felt like completely useless. My energy was like feeling useless. I'm like, why? Because I felt like, what on earth am I doing here? There's such a, like there were 100 rabbonim and whatever. I felt completely unnecessary. I was there I said Mazel Tov. Before the chuppah began, I was out already. I went out, came back here, and at night I had a shiur with about a dozen ladies. They came inside. They're all ladies who are, they have a kid who's severely off the derech. I'm Barpa. And I got faith back in the shkoyach. I got faith back in the system. They're sitting over there. There are a bunch of ladies who what's the ref? They were sitting over there. You mamish, I'm telling you, I walked into the room. It was a broken room. Completely broken. Everybody in the room was broken. Their kids are up there. They're struggling. They're suffering. I felt elokus in the room. I don't know what to say. I walked inside. You just feel these people are sitting over there and all they want is elokus. And you notice it's just an amazing, I don't know. The Eibishter finds himself in brokenness. I tell you, I don't know. This is what I felt. Maybe I'm wrong. 1,000 people with the chasana, with a beautiful, it was a holy event. It was a very holy event. I felt God in the other room.
Yeah.
So the Alter Rebbe is saying over here, when a person gets into the mariris of Chaimer V'Venim, whenever you're stuck and it's in the dark spots of life, you should know those are the godly spots. 107, Nun Dalet. And then when you fall into Mitzrayim, you're putting roots in the ground. Hashem wants us to receive the Torah, so we have to go through the suffering, and that's why you suffer. If you're wondering why life is so hard, why you're in exile, and you just can't make money, it's just boom, and it's a shibud all the time. Why is that? Because we want to receive the Torah. What does it mean to receive the Torah? Just like we received the Torah by Matan Torah, the physical revealed Torah, we're going to receive now the Torah of Mashiach. So we have to suffer, and it's much bigger, clearly, because we suffered much longer than Mitzrayim. 2,000 years, including all the Holocaust and everything, much worse than Mitzrayim, much of it. So Bezeu. Now we get the wrap up of what's the pasuk. You create as Yakov. Which one's higher? Boire is higher than Yotzer. So why is Yakov, which is the lower one, Boire, which is higher? Yakov and Yisrael. Yakov means Hashem, you comes into the heel. Yisrael is when you're a prince. So yet you use the higher one for Yakov and the lower one for Yisrael. Because everything you see in the world has a matter and a form. So the bria, the actual form, is what you see. The tzura is the Yisrael. So what does that mean? It means when you see tefillin, boom, I think is what he's saying. There's a physical mitzvah. That's the chaymer. What's the tzura? Of course, coming out of it. If yiras chet comes before chachma, the chachma can succeed. What does that mean? In order for the chachma to work and to rise, we said Isha, that was on the previous column, right? Isha yiras Hashem. The Jew is an Isha. Hashem is the Baal, Hashem is the husband. When a Jew behaves like an Isha, what does that mean, like an Isha? Now we know in the Maamar, what does it mean? The Jew looks at his life and he says, things are bad, and I don't see God in my life. I don't feel like a wife. I actually feel like I'm divorced. That's Golus. Golus feels like divorce. Mitzrayim. Hashem doesn't love me. Isha yiras Hashem. When a woman works on herself to see, hey, Hashem is everywhere. And let go, and you'll see God right here. Isha Yiras Hashem, when a woman, a Yid feels the Yiras Hashem, she lights up. And David HaMelech then says, L'chol tichla ra'isi kate. I'm thinking about, every revelation is nothing. But what's a mitzvah chamoyed? That the mitzvah, the ability to do a mitzvah is the greatest thing in the world. And that's when you get to be in this world. I just want to do one little piece of the beer in there, just the 1 more minute thing over here. It requires a whole thing on its own, but it just caught my eye, an amazing word of it. Look at the next column. Love and share, I don't understand what this means. In a gimel kshorim miskashon is over I said Jew, Torah, and God. Torah is above the Jew and Torah is the Kala. It's married to Hashem. So when Torah is married to Hashem, Torah is when you feel God. If you learn Torah, you become the husband. A Jew, as we said before, right, is the grain of Hashem. Torah is called bread, and it's called wine, and it's called oil, and it's called wine. Hashem is ready to give, but not to receive. The story was that the Tana asked for, he got a thing from above, and then the heavenly hand comes out and takes it back. And it was greater the miracle that Hashem took back. This is the part I want to do. The Tana was given gold from heaven. That's not a big deal. Hashem can give you whatever he wants. A hand comes down and gives you every time you make money. That's what it is. Hashem creates the world. Everything's yesh me'ayin. So when you see the world, big deal. See what he's getting at? Hashem created the world. He embedded you in the world. He put you down. It's an amazing miracle, creation. You know what the greatest part of creation is? The greatest miracle is that Hashem becomes a recipient. Hashem says, you do the mitzvah, and when you do the mitzvah, you're giving me. But Mishmaya is, I don't take from you. Get this straight. I'm God. But I'm going to take from you anyway. You're the creator. Only the Jew has the power. You're my land and my desire. Hashem says, I need you. Hashem has this taiva. What's his taiva? I created a yesh, and your mission is to make the yesh into an ayin. I make yesh me'ayin, you make ayin mi-yesh. So I'm taking from you. You become my chayfet. We have the power to give fruits. You put the seed in the ground, right? Garin has no taste. It doesn't have any texture, but if you put a chita, you'll get chita. If you put apple, you get apple, whatever you put in. So, okay, we have to stop here, but when you have the oneness of the garin, so he's saying like this: if a Jew wants to bring Hashem out of this world, just like you put an apple seed into the ground, so too, well, the nimshal is mitzvahs are like a garin. Why? There's no texture, there's no life force. Tefillin is just a physical act. Nothing to it. And Hashem says, I don't take ever, but from you I'm going to take. Because Yisrael is Eretz Chayfetz. What does it mean? When you're struggling with a taiva, you should know Hashem says, I'm getting from that. It's so important because the struggle with the taiva, the victory over the taiva, that's bringing Elokus into the world. Maybe tomorrow we'll finish this. But bottom line is, a Jew gives to Hashem. Hashem says, thank you to the Jew for being the one who gives me.
Every yeshiva should go on this concept. They would not go crazy. They would not go depressed if they would learn this.
Beautiful.
Somebody would go depressed if they would learn.
Yeah, when you realize what a Jew is. What a Jew is. All right.
Go ahead.
A guten Jung schon. Danke,